Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life.
A Professor Sunreis Productions!
Hello, class. Professor Sunreis here. Today, we're going to take a look at the upcoming Brave engine, how it works, how it synergizes with PK, and how I think first Brave PK list will look like. Brave engine is the next in line of a classic Yu-Gi-Oh staple, a splashable waifu archetype. Damn, we hadn't had those in a long time, huh? Anyways, with insane tempo and resource generation and a big downside attached to it, it basically makes your deck tier 1 or 2 if you can play with it, because it's just so strong. But how does it work? Let's find that out. So let's go card by card first and see what all of the Brave cards actually do. Firstly, we have Rite of Armisia. This card lets you summon a Brave token to your side of the field, and then activate Journey of Destiny directly from the deck. It also locks you into only using special summon monster effect this turn. So your normal summon can't use its on-field effect, but if it has a grave effect or you can resummon it later, this is an auto-include because it's just free. Second, we have Aquamancer. Aquamancer lets you, if you control a Brave token, special summon itself. That's very good because it's a free level 3 body, which is very good. And what's even better, it's a level 3 body with a grave effect, because from hand or grave we can banish it to add 1 Rite of Armisia. Together with Foolish, that's already 7 Rite of Armesias. These are our innate starters of the engine. And Aquamancer being a level 3 makes it so that Cherubini can send it. So the whole engine gets access, especially in Phantom Knights, by basically the whole deck. And what the engine does, it's Wandering Griffin Rider. This is a searchable by Journey of Destiny, by the way. Omni Negate, because if you control a Brave token, you can special summon this, and if you still control the Brave token, this is an Omni Negate for effects and activations. Being able to negate effects and activation is quite strong. It also shuffles itself back into the deck, so we can use it later in a grind game. It's a very unrealistic scenario, at least for my testing, but if the token stays on the field, you basically win, because you will have another Omni Negate every turn. Together with stuff like the PK grind or just an Enforcer. Imagine in a grind game sitting on a 2k beat stick, with an Omni Negate, a 2.5k beat stick with a pop, which tags itself out basically. That's a lot of power, a lot of tempo in a grind game already. Journey of Destiny is like the whole playmaker of the deck. This is a one-off, by the way. It lets you lets you in the main phase search one monster who says Brave token in its text and then send 1 card from the hand. This is not for cost. The engine itself loses to 1 Ash, and also still locks you into the restriction. That's kind of bad, and this is where the problem of the deck lies, in my opinion. But it's super fine. There are a lot of cards which help you play around that weakness. Last we also play 1 Draco Bag. This cute little boy. I mean, look at him. He looks so happy. He does his job. He's cute. He's cute. We like him. Draco Bag is an interesting card. This card, while equipped to a non-effect monster, this is non-quick effect targeting bounce. That's actually pretty interesting, because this is, together with Wandering Griffin Rider, a Mystic Mind main deck out, and it's also searchable because Journey of Destiny has a third effect where we can, if we normal or special summon a monster, just take 1 equip spell from our deck and just equip it to a Brave token. And while this card is equipped to a Brave token, it gets this effect. But that's not the only effect. Dracoback also can, if this card is sent to the graveyard once, not even from field, target itself to a Brave token. So that's, if you hard draw this is a free discard, which we need in the engine. So, for example, if we draw Rite of Armisia plus Dracoback, we get to the Journey of Destiny with Rite of Armisia, and then we can just discard the Dracoback for free and still equip it. That's very nice for this deck, because the engine itself uses 1 discard, the PK engine uses 1 discard, so we're already at 2 discards, and that's just a nice free resource, just like with Breaksword, where you could theoretically pop this and re-equip it. Most importantly, this is just a searchable Mystic main deck out. But yeah, that's basically the whole engine. It's 7 starters, 3 bricks, I would say. Though Wandering Griffin Rider, if drawn with engine, is just an extender, because Aquamancer is an innate summon. Journey of Destiny can search it, so if you already do the Griffin Rider, plus like an Aquamancer, we can just search a second Aquamancer of Journey of Destiny, and then just special summon on the field and have a free level 3 extender to go into further Cherubini plays. Talking about further Cherubini plays, let's take a look at 2 PK deck lists I have prepared, both with Brave, 1 with Enforcer and 1 without, and talk about the perks and benefits each list have. So let's go card by card and explain a few card choices here and there, the ratios, whatever. Firstly, we have 3 Aquamancer. Like I said, this is the best card for especially Brave PK because this is a level 3 with an inherent summon. You can also just normal summon this if you play more level 3 extenders. Reason for not playing a lot of level 3 extenders is the Fusion Destiny package. We'll get to that later, but it basically makes it so that all of the PKs are actually just 1 card starters for an enforcer, so we don't really need the extenders. And reason for why I chose to go this route is because an extender plus any PK is not actually that much combo anymore, because extender plus PK just goes into Cherubini, and Cherubini of course could send another PK, but we actually want to go into the Brave engine, and if Cherubini sends Aquaman, so we don't actually have 2 PKs to actually extend of the PK plus 1 extender line, so it's kind of iffy. And in this version I completely cut most of all of the generic extenders. I also have a list without the enforcer, and there I still play a few extenders, but I haven't tested this deck list as much, so I'm just gonna go briefly over this. This list I tested quite a bit, so I can give you some insights. So 3 Aquamancer, this card is amazing. Drawing on multiples, so it's still fine to draw, like I said. True Right of Armisia. A lot of OCG lists play only 1, but I really like the 2 because it's just a starter, and having the extra surge of Aquamancer and a Grind Kim can be good for maybe even setting up the Brave engine again, or just having a discard or just a free link token. 1 Foolish Burial, this card is amazing. It sets up Aquamancer, it sets up Cloak, it's all you want. 2 Fusion Destiny, the Enforcer package is, like I said, insane in this deck, making 1 card combos possible, and also just Enforcer being still a strong card. I'll play 2 Fusion Destiny because it's not really a card I want to see going second, and the deck does lose a bit of its power going second, especially game 1 where I don't have Draco back in the main, but 2 is totally fine. The whole deck tries to get into this engine anyways, and I really like this ratio. 3 Torn Scales and 1 Rhoda. These are the last starters, total these are 12 starters I think, yes. Torn Scales is a weird starter in this sense. It's just 1 card combo if we hard draw it. But if we use it as a combo starter, we can't go into the Brave engine anymore because we have normals. That's not too bad. You shouldn't really shy away from that and get baited by just ending on an Omni Negate plus a Fog Blade. Going into Rusty is always better, especially if you can somehow play around Nibiru. But yeah, this is just still an amazing starter and is the best PK even now. For the rest of the PKs, 3 Boots, 2 Cloak and 1 Gloves. All of these are 1 card starters into Fusion Destiny thanks to Brigandine and a lot of shit in the extra deck. These are all just really good. Silent Boots is by far the best extender on the deck, and Torn Scales plus Boots are by far the best hands. Cloak and Gloves are there to make the engine work. Having the Surge is very important, especially in the grind game, having the second one, and Gloves being just generically able to send all the cards of the archetype to the grave is just amazing, and this is really good card to just put early into the combo if you have a free send of Cherubini, because then you can decide, okay, what do you want to do with your Gloves later on the combo, depending on what your opponent did to you. Did he imperm you, did he nip you, whatever. 3 Fogblade, these cards are just decent extenders. The deck, like I said, uses a lot of discards, and having extra traps engraved just for free summons is really good, and if hard drawn on multiples, this is just the monster negate, super fine. Shape Brigandine, this card is kind of weird. It can brick you a little. It's an extender if you want to go into Rusty or into Verti, so it's not the worst to draw, but you really don't want to draw it, but it's necessary, I think, for this deck to function, because we just really want to go into Enforcer, and having the 1 card combo just really helps. This deck can easily play 12 defensive cards. I'm currently deciding to play Crossout board. The meta is unsolved because it's not even out yet, but I feel like having the having hand trap protection is really important in a deck like this, and I feel like hand traps would become very, 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 very prevalent again. But like I said, the meta is not out. This can be anything. This can also be just 12 board breakers. This could be Droplet, Dark Ruler, Nibiru, Imperm, or stuff like that. Should be noted though that Lancia is pretty good against this deck because it not only hits PK engine but also the Brave engine pretty hard. Unless you hard draw right of Armisia or Fusion Destiny, you don't end on anything. So Crossout is very good against that. But yeah, For bricky cards, I would say we have one wing. This is an extender if we hard draw it with a starter, but this is just an extra name of a trap to have engraved for a reborn. One Stain Greaves, a necessary card to play because Boots is the only level 3 extender we have of the PKs if we don't play it, and later in combo, especially because most of our combos get started by Boots plus the PK, we want to be able to banish Cloak out of the grave with the Taunt Scale engrave and then just summon the Taunt Scales, and because we special summoned Taunt Scales, we can summon this. One new Griffin Rider, also an extender if we have Engine. Like I said, all of these are extenders in my sense at least, if drawn with an extender or a starter, and these are just bad cards to draw and they don't give you any bonus of drawing them. Don't play Jacob back in the main. It is a Mystic Mine main deck out, but it's another brick or a bricky card in a sense. And with playing the Enforcer package, you just play 2 bricks that you don't play without it. And I don't really want to brick game 1 too hard. It is an amazing card going second, but game 1 I want to go first. And I haven't tested it too much. It could also be wrong. You should test it more, but I don't think it's necessary. It is the most important part about this deck card is that it is a Mystic Mine main deck out. With Griffin and Enforcer we already have 2, so we should be fine, but you should test this more definitely. Side deck, like I said, the meta is not solved. It's very hard to talk about a side deck. Cards like Judgment are really good because they are good going first and good against trap decks, and these are our worst matchups. They become easier now with Griffin Rider and Enforcer. You actually have stuff against trap decks. But they're definitely still not easy. Lightning Storm was also very good when this deck was a combo deck. It is not anymore. I feel like it feels like a mid-rangey Invoke Dogma type deck now. But it still should be fine because this deck can just auto-win game 1 and then just siding in the Lightning Storm game 2 because you don't even know what your opponent is playing is really good. Lanciers could also be very strong in this meta because this deck will probably be very good, and Lancier should still be applicable to a lot of decks anyways. Also, what is very interesting could be a Gamma. Maybe not in this list, but in the other list I'm going to show you because the deck loses to Lancier. Gamma is an amazing card going second. For the extra deck, 2 Breaksword, pretty standard, 1 for combo and 1 for grinding, 1 Livia to get back your resources and go to Anaconda with bad hands, 1 Evil Swarm Nightmare for when we draw Fusion Destiny. That way we can still utilize the 2 level 4 bodies Breaksword gives us for extra disruption. Downed and Zeus, just too important to break apart boards in my opinion. Cherubini for combo, this is the best card in the deck. This is the glue which sticks the deck together. If these cards get banned, decks like this don't function, and PK in general becomes quite bad. You could still play like Isolde Turbo with it. I haven't tested it too much, but in theory it could be fine. This is way too strong. This is also very, very important against backrow decks because they play a lot of Torrentials, Needle Sealing, Conquistador, and just sitting under Cherubini and comboing under it and picking apart the board with Break Swords is just really strong. 1 Rusty, this is Phantom Knights, we play Rusty of course. This gives you access to the whole archetype. It's a free pop, it's disruption, it's all we want. For the Enforcer package, we play 4 cards. Almirage, Link Spider, Anaconda, and Enforcer. These are all there to trigger the PKs. You normal summon any of these, link it into Almirage, banish it out of the grave, search Brigandine summon into Link Spider to get an effect monster out of it, into Anaconda, into Enforcer, and that's it. For the rest of the links, they are quite bad at the moment. I play Masquerena into Unicorn, into Access Code. The package itself is super fine and would definitely still play these 2. But Masquerena in this deck is kind of bad. It's just a generic link 2 because on the end board, you don't really have a card in hand anymore. You should have to open Busted to still have a card in hand, which you don't want to use. So it's neither a good defensive card, nor it's a Fogblade. The likelihood of this happening is quite low. So this is not really something we end on. This is more like a generic link 2. But with the upcoming, I think the next list after this one releases, we get the Dark Charmer, and this will be super strong in this deck and will be an auto include and will replace Masquerena, especially because we can just go into Evil Swarm Nightmare, who is not really that good at the moment. He misses a lot of timings, but he's still super strong against Tennies, against rogue decks, against birds. He's still a strong card, so that's super fine. And the Unicorn Access Code Talker package in this list I feel like is better because we do have a token and we do have a 1 Griffin Rider, so we already have a lot of attack and we don't need that much attack from the Boral Sword, and just having the extra pops and the ease of accessibility, especially because Dark Charmer summoning any link to Dark, for example Anaconda, if it stays unbanned, is just so much a link fodder already to go immediately into access code. Let's take a look at the other list I have there for you. This is a list without Enforcer. It's 42 cards. Chill out, okay. I'm also huge against that, but like I said, I haven't tested it too much, so the ratios are not really that optimized. I still play the same amount of Brave stuff. I just don't really like hard drawing Rite of Artemisia too much. It kind of loses to Ash on a Journey of Destiny so hard. It just forces you so quickly. It's not really different than just hard drawing Aquamancer, but I feel like with Aquamancer I have way higher chances of drawing something with it to use it as an extender or a normal summon with 2 extenders or stuff like that. So still, that's still fine. The PK package is also the same. Not really a lot to talk about there. I play generic extenders. If you play Brave Token, you should really only play Dark extenders, because mostly you want to use them to go into Rusty with it as well. So it's not really that big of a deal to go into Cherubini, but going into Rusty with them is very important. So if you draw 2 extenders, you can use them to go into Cherubini and then into Rusty. And if you, for example, normal summon Aquamancer and have 2 extenders, you actually have full combo, because Cherubini sends the first PK and Rusty can send the second PK. So that's super good. This is, I think, also 12 defensive cards. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's actually 13, so that's 1 more. That's also pretty good. It's not really a lot differently. We only have, the only real difference we have is we have less 1-card combos, but we have less bricks for it. So it's hard to decide, okay, do we really play better, but we probably don't have that many capabilities to play into hand traps. But playing less bricks means we are generically better at just playing into boards and stuff like that. Having 1 more defensive card also means we can draw it somewhat more likely. We have the Draco back in main deck because we don't play that many bricks. So we actually have a lot stronger time going second. Overall, I would say this version plays better into boards, but the Enforcer package plays better into hand traps. The real only hand trap protection we have here is 5 of these. They're all super strong because they all protect our Brave Engine, and if Brave Engine resolves, it protects the rest of the cards. And also the most important part is we get the discard to set up our graveyard for Cherubini plays or Rusty plays. Something to note here still is the extra deck. Not playing the Enforcer package space. This is not a list I would run. This definitely needs another Link monster or something. But you can play stuff like number 80. This is really good against all the Enforcer decks. You can banish Celestial and Enforcer with it. If you already forced it, that's really good, especially in a deck that struggles to OTK and not really taking away a lot of resources. You just break the board, they still have other resources, they're gonna OTK you the next turn. So having number 80 here is really helpful. You can play the F-Zero package with double Levia actually. That's a very interesting play. It's not really a strong play end board wise, but it's a really good play resource-wise, because this deck kind of struggles to go into Rusty, even the Enforcer package, by banishing a lot of PKs during the combo. And if you play a double Levia, you can actually just resummon 1 Aquamancer from banished and 1 PK from banished, go into F-Zero, then use the last summon of the Levia, which should be the PK, and then go into PK Rusty with your 1 PK and the Cherubini. And then you probably just can end on a Fogblade with it, but that's still Fogblade, F-Zero plus an Omni Negate, plus usually 1 or 2 defensive cards. That's still a super strong end board. And F-Zero is just another boss monster to get on turn 3, turn 4, depending on what you played, because the double Levia line is just so strong at breaking boards. It forces Zeus's early, so they have to somewhat commit to it. It's still a very good card. It's super strong against Enforcer because Enforcer just can't out it. It's hard to decide what I want to play. I'm currently liking the Enforcer package more because it's still not at too many bricks, and just having all of these 1-card combos is so strong. But the future will decide what will be played. If Anaconda gets banned, most of this video is useless because you're never gonna play this without Anaconda. It's just not worth it. And then you would just play a deck like this. But let's waste not too much time anymore on the deck list and get into 1 or 2 combos. So let's get into the first combo. First combo will be any PK plus boots. This time we have gloves. This somewhat funnily indicates it's any PK because he can send any PK. Anyways, normal summon gloves. Use boots to special summon itself. This is an inherent summon, by the way, if you didn't know. Go into Cherubini. Cherubini sent for cost an Aquamancer to the grave. Cherubini is now 1.9k attack. Remember that. This could somehow force something out, maybe in Masquerena going second, stuff like that. Use Aquamancer to banish itself to search yourself right of Aramesia. You're going to activate the right, summon a token under this column here to get it protected from token collector. This is a card in the meta. You could somehow lose to this if you're bad, or if you don't draw good, but this definitely shouldn't hit you too much. But it's just so free to just play into it. And then you can activate the Journey of Destiny, here it is, to the Spell and Trap Zone. You're going to activate Journey of Destiny, search yourself while running Griffin Rider, and send 1 card from from hand to grave. We are searching the Griffin Rider. We are summoning this in this column here because we are going to switch the columns up in the next step and then go into the right one. So we still want the 2 rusty link zones to be empty. And if we play Draco back, you could just search the Draco back here and activate it on the token, but we are not playing this in this version. Next, we are playing PKs again. We are using gloves to send Taunt Scales. And then we are going to banish this to search ourselves Brigandine. This is an empty hand. If we have an extender in hand, we could play it differently. And then we summon the Taunt Scales. Or if we need the discard fodder, we would search Wing here, but we are just playing the bare minimum. So we are activating this, move it here. Reason why I summon Taunt Scales here is because it would be okay to summon it after the Rusty, especially if Rusty sends a Cloak to grave, but what if we get Impermed on Rusty here? We don't want to waste the Griffin Rider on that. Too bad, it depends, but definitely, probably not if we can play without it, because we would just open ourselves up for Nibiru that way, or more hand traps, and just saving that is just almost always better. Then we use Rusty effect to set ourselves Fogblade, and send a Cloak or anything. It doesn't really matter too much. Now we use the Taunt Scale effect to discard something and probably want to send a Wing. Then we can use the Wing to banish, summon the Cloak, use Cloak effect on Rusty to get it more attack. It's not really that important, but it's just free, so why wouldn't you use it? Summon both of them into Breaksword effect, targeting the Breaksword, not that. Breaksword effect in grave, summons back 2 PKs, and then we can just overlay into Fusion, into Anaconda, and send Fusion Destiny to end on the Enforcer, and that. Summon Enforcer. Yeah, in this end board we end on a Griffin Rider, an Enforcer, a Fogblade. We don't have the pop in grave because we played without the hand completely. We would have 1 hand card in hand here. Most of the time you would probably use the Cloak to search something and maybe go a different route. Problem is we hard drew gloves. Usually you could easily send gloves here instead of Cloak and then still have a trap in grave for another pop. Like I said, this deck uses a lot of its hand to combo, and it's really hard to just say, okay, this is a 2-card combo, this goes into that. It's almost never a 2-card combo unless you draw 2 like Cloak plus boots and then just 3 defensive cards which you don't really want to put in the grave. But this is a bare bone you can start to work on. That's a pretty good end board. So in this hand I'm going to show you what 1 Rite of Armesia and 1 Gloves does for you. The first combo was pretty much 1-for-1 applicable to the deck without Enforcer. This combo is only for the Enforcer package, but let's not waste too much time. Rite of Armesia, this could also be an Aquamancer or a Foolish, it doesn't matter. Search it, summon a token, activate Journey of Destiny. Journey of Destiny, send 1 card from grave. Let's just say it's a dead card. We can say it's a wing, but let's just say it's a dead card. search ourselves a Griffin Rider. Where it is? Here it is. Like you already could tell, Brave Engine is a very complicated deck. I'm just kidding. It's super simple. It just does this all the time. We don't have the token collector protection here, but that is okay. If we get token collector, it's just a 1-for-1 trade. That's not too bad. We normal summon the gloves. We link the gloves into an Almirage and banish said gloves for. I'm not too sure what I want to banish here. If it's just boots or a cloak, I would say a cloak because boots is just a little better to draw. But it's complicated. Banish the cloak to search ourselves the Brigandine. And then just summon the Brigandine, link that off into a Link Spider, and then just link both of these off into Anaconda. Effect Anaconda, send these into the graveyard. Where is the fusion? There it is. And then we still end on an Omni Negate plus a paw plus 2 cards in hand. If that's one defensive card, that's probably enough to just survive. And then after that, you have decent follow-up with the fusion Destiny package. This is definitely not the strongest board, but it's just the bare minimum. We can always just accomplish basically this, or a version of this where we maybe didn't draw the Brave Engine, but we drew 2 defensive cards plus a cloak or something like that. That's just what I wanted to show you. I don't really feel comfortable or just informative just showing you combos because this just combos the whole deck and I can't really test appropriately because it's not really out yet. If this deck gets released, I'm gonna play a shit ton of it on my stream. I'm gonna leave a link to the description to it. And in general, I'm just gonna test this a lot, and after it officially dropped, I'm going to give you more information on what I think which version is better. I'm gonna play a shit ton of it and give you all the information you need for you to top your regionals and locals. And we are gonna see ourselves in the outro. So class is almost over, guys. I hope you had a blast in this video. This is my first video. I'm definitely gonna do more in the future. I'm having a lot of fun doing this and just talking about competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! That's just my passion. It is how it is, and I really like sharing the knowledge I have. It's not the most, I'm not the pro, but I would say I'm pretty okay at the game, and just sharing it with you guys, get the insight, talk about deck lists, stuff like that. I'm gonna do that more in the future, not only about PK, not only about Brave PK, but also about all the PK lists, and I'm starting to get into other lists like Dragon Link, Sword Soul Virtual World are stuff that are on my radar, and I'm definitely gonna do videos similar to this on them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch. I'm starting to play that more once the new season starts and once Master Duel is officially started. I think I can already download it, but depending on how expensive the PK list will be, deciding if I want to play it or not. Have a good time, and I'm gonna see you in the next class. Professor Sunreis out.
Please bring back another drink, Colossus. I miss it.